So Leslie, you love cars. Of all the beautiful cars you've seen here, what would you choose if I could give you a free one?
That Chevy truck over there.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the German Car Show. We're going to start today's episode with a trip that I took to Holland, Michigan, and a place called the European Autohaus. This is a used car dealership that specializes in German cars. I think their main focus is the Volkswagen group, but they have other cars there as well. And so I'll show you a little bit of footage from that area and just give you some impressions. Now, I had been trying to connect with these people so that we could do a little bit more with them, but unfortunately, the people that I needed to talk to were out of town this past week, so hopefully we can do more with them in the future. But for now, enjoy some of the cars they had for sale on the lot.
So I'm supposed to release this German car show every other Tuesday, and I don't know what to put in the show this week. I've been trying to get a hold of these people who have a used car dealership that specializes in German cars, but I haven't been able to get a hold of them. They're in Holland, Michigan here. So we're just driving up to Holland and I'll see what happens. Maybe we can at least get some shots of the lot or something. One of the neat things about this place is how many German brands you'll find in the same facility. So here we've got Mercedes-Benz, Audi, BMW, and Volkswagen all in the same line. Pretty neat sight to see. Here is a car that I absolutely love, the Audi TT, in this case TTS, and then of course it's higher up TTRS. Would love to be able to try one of these out someday, but just a beautiful design. What's interesting about this car is it uses the same body as this car here, which is the A3. Both of those are based on the Volkswagen Golf platform, but you can see the cars have an entirely different look and feel to them, even though I'm sure they drive very similarly to each other since they're essentially the same car. Lots of German SUVs to choose from. So as we're walking by the Volkswagens here, the Golf for example, Leslie had some interesting words.
They look awful. They're boxy and awful.
No, they're really,
all of them.
They're really similar to Audi. So like
they look like a fish face.
That Golf is the same thing as that A3.
No. Well, then I need to go look at that A3 because then it's awful too.
The design's different. They work.
No. Like, okay, that one's a little bit better, but the top hood of that, and then it's all boxy and awful.
This is interesting because you can see the A4 side by side with the B8.5 and the B9 model. And the B9 is on the right here. It has an entirely new body and design. Although you can see that Audi's rather conservative in their upgrades, there's not a huge difference in the look of these two. And I'm curious what you guys think. Do you prefer the look of the B8.5 or the B9 with a little bit more razor blade like headlights? And you can see there's some extra lines here on the hood of the B9 and a little less on the B8.5 with the face upgrade. So Leslie, you love cars. Of all the beautiful cars you've seen here, what would you choose if I could give you a free one?
That Chevy truck over there.
Right now I am finishing up a new house, and there's a driveway that will end up being relatively steep. Living in Michigan, we get a lot of snow and ice in the winter, and my girlfriend keeps saying, keeps joking that my car won't be able to get up the driveway. And I drive an Audi A4 Quattro. So, as a joke, I showed her this video. Now, the Quattro gag is a running gag between the two of us. She's always trying to say that my car will get stuck or imply that I shouldn't go out in the snow, something like that. And I joke about having Quattro. So, hopefully, I never get stuck, because if I do get stuck, I'm never going to live that one down, and Quattro's reputation will be forever ruined. So, I'm going to have to get some new tires this fall here and make sure that I've got everything in place ready to go for the winter, so I don't get stuck and embarrass the Audi Quattro system. Hello, you are on the German Car Show. How's it going?
Oh, sorry.
Let's try that again. Why should you get a German car? And specifically when I say German car, I'm talking about the German luxury brands, something like an Audi, Mercedes, or BMW. I don't have too much experience with Volkswagen, although those might be perfectly good cars as well. But based on my experience, why should you get a German car? A lot of the reasons people give that you shouldn't give a German car is that they cost too much, they're unreliable, and you can get more value from an American brand as far as horsepower. But to me, the German brand the German brands have the best overall fusion of sport, luxury, and practicality. In other words, if you want a four-door sedan, you want to ride in something that is very comfortable and features some great technology, but also has the sporty feeling for when you're feeling like you want to really drive it, I don't think there's anything that tops the German cars, just based on my limited experience so far. Be happy to be proven wrong, by the way. I love driving cars, so if you have a recommendation for me, let me know and I'll see if I can get a hold of something to drive. But anyway, for example, my Audi A4 is a 2014 model. It's a small 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, but it really will get up and go when you want it to. And unlike most of your typical cars, it's not a front-wheel drive car. It has the Quattro system, which is 60% on the rear and 40% on the front. So it feels kind of like a rear-wheel drive, but also the all-wheel drive feeling that you'd feel in a Subaru. You get kind of a combination of both of those with the Audi. And then, of course, the other brands like BMW and Mercedes, you would get either rear-wheel drive or their all-wheel drive system, which is rear-wheel drive based and then kicks in the front wheels when the rear wheels are slipping, so computer controlled, but will feel like a rear-wheel drive car. I think that feeling right there is something that you don't necessarily want to sacrifice with some of the other standard car brands like Honda, Toyota, some of the brands that I really like, but that's one of the big killer features for me, is that they don't have all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. So anyway, there's that part. There's the actual comfort of it. You get usually standard leather seats, heated seats, and some nice technology that comes standard in them. They all usually have sunroofs and things like that. So they're luxurious cars. The Audi in particular has incredibly high build quality feel to the interior. Everything just feels very well screwed together. So it just feels like a solid car to drive in, and I like that feeling a lot. I don't like the tin can feeling that you get in a lot of cars out there. So you get this feeling of luxury, you get this sporty vibe, and they're also practical. I mean, the Audi A4 that I have is just a 4-door sedan. It's got a big trunk space, so if you would want a 4-door sedan, then it's a great alternative. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with SUVs, and there might not be as much of a reason to go German if you're into SUVs. I'm not sure. I would love to try out like a BMW, the X3, for example, that looks like... it might be a little more fun to drive than a standard SUV. But with SUVs already being all-wheel drive and relatively comfortable, do you need to go with a German brand or not? The reason that I was so drawn to Audi, for example, is because it was one of the few sedans that you can get in all-wheel drive and that has all of the luxury features. So I think it's a great way to go. Now, when you compare the German luxury brands to other companies, I think the only one that looks enticing to me is Lexus. They've done a lot with their design language recently, and I think there's a lot of pretty attractive Lexus cars out there these days. I'd love to try some of those out, particularly the Lexus RC. That looks like a fun coupe to drive. However, from what I hear, based on a lot of the reviews, the Lexus cars just do not have the driving feel of the German cars. They sacrifice some of that driving feel for more standardized parts, I guess you would say, parts that Toyota uses, and therefore parts that have more reliability. So you might get more reliability with cars like that, but less driving enjoyment. Some of the other cars that would compete with your German luxury brands are things like Lincoln and Cadillac. And based on what I've seen of those cars and the few times I've ridden in them and things like that, they just do not have the same overall quality feel of the German brands that I've been in. And there's no bias that I have. I come from America. I would love for America to have the best luxury vehicles, but I don't feel like they quite stack up to the same caliber. So, particularly if you want a sedan, I think that the German brands are one of the best ways to go if you care about sportiness at all, or luxury at all, or you want a combination of those elements while maintaining the practical side, because of course you could go and get a fancy sports car. If you want something purely for sport fun, you can go get a Corvette or a Porsche or something like that. But if you want that 4-door sedan or even just a more practical coupe, then I think the Germans have some great options. As far as the price of German cars is concerned, I think that most middle-class people anyway can get into one if they want to. I made a video detailing some of the ways that you can purchase the lower tier cars like the Mercedes C300 or your Audi A4, or BMW 328, 330, those type of ranges. And really between $15,000 and $20,000 is what you need to get into a relatively new low mileage car in that particular class. And I mean, honestly, I think that's pretty reasonable. It's the price that a lot of people will spend on a car anyway. So if you get one of those about 4 years used and under 50,000 miles, you can spend less than $20,000, still have a car that's a little bit in warranty and relatively low mileage. You'll get a few years out of it at the least. And I think that's a certainly a fair trade to have a car that is that much more interesting than like a Toyota Camry or something like that. So if you have a budget of around $15,000 to $20,000, I really would consider getting into one of the German brands. If you're new to the German Car Show, I try to release an episode every 2 weeks on Tuesdays. And so this week I was trying to get a little bit more content at the European Autohaus, but again I couldn't really find the person that I needed to talk to there. So maybe we can do some more with them down the road in the future. But next weekend I will be going to the Frankenmuth Car Show. That will be on September 7th, and hopefully they'll have some German cars there. I look forward to talking to the owners. It is a German-themed town, and I've never been there before, so I'm not exactly sure what to expect. But with it being a German-themed town and them having a car show, they will likely have some German cars. That is a guess. It is right next to Detroit, so they may mostly have American cars like most of the other car shows in Michigan. But if I can find a few people with German-made cars, I'd love to talk to them and then report back to you guys. So be on the lookout for that. That will be episode 4 coming up. If you haven't already, please like the show. Please subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so that you are able to get the newest episodes on time.